Hi, welcome to another FinFlow Podcast. Today our topic is what truly makes McDonald's a financial powerhouse. When you picture McDonald's, what do you see? Maybe the Big Mac, those crispy fries, or, I don't know, the endless drive-through line.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
But here's a bit of a mind bender. McDonald's isn't primarily, slinging burgers. They're really in the business of real estate and franchising.
Exactly. It's a fantastic story, really, about entrepreneurial vision, building this incredibly profitable model.
And that's what we're going to dive deep into today, how they actually make their money.
It's a great hook because, yeah, for most people, the immediate thought is food sales. So let's unpack that. I mean, we see McDonald's everywhere, right? They're just part of the landscape.
Totally. Constant presence.
So it's natural to assume, well, the profits must come from selling all that food.
Absolutely. You see the lines, you smell the fries. It's easy math, right? Volume equals profit, or so you'd think. But here's a key stat that kind of flips that script. Out of over 40,000 locations worldwide, guess how many McDonald's Corp actually owns and operates?
It's surprisingly low, isn't it?
It really is. Only about 5%.
Wow.
The other 95%, they're franchises, run by independent owners paying McDonald's for, well, the privilege.
And that's where the financial magic, as you called it, really kicks in. It's fascinating because you move beyond just selling a burger, and you look at the power of selling a system, a standardized blueprint.
A blueprint for success, basically.
Right. Instead of managing, tens of thousands of restaurants directly, which would be a nightmare logistically, they empower entrepreneurs to do it. But crucially, they keep significant control and, well, they reap huge rewards.
Exactly. So when someone decides, I want to open a McDonald's, they're not just buying a shop, they're buying into this proven, well-oiled machine. Let's peek under the hood a bit. First off, there's an upfront franchise fee. Usually around, $45,000?
Around that, yeah. Not insignificant, but just the start.
Right, because then the franchise has to invest, and this is a big chunk, maybe $1 to $2 million.
Yeah, to build the place, equip it, all to McDonald's exact standards.
And then the ongoing payments start rolling in. Royalties like 4 or 5% of gross sales.
And that's key gross sales. Before the franchise pays for staff, food, anything, McDonald's gets their cut off the top.
But here's the real kicker, the strategic brilliance. The rent.
The rent.
In most cases, the franchisee pays rent to McDonald's because McDonald's owns the land or the building.
So let's connect the dots. McDonald's sets up these multiple income streams right from day one. They get that initial fee, nice bit of capital. Then the steady flow of royalty is tied to how well the store does.
More sales equals more royalties. Simple.
But that rent, that's probably the most significant, most stable piece. It basically turns McDonald's into this massive landlord. Consistent income with very little hands-on operational work for them in running the actual restaurant day to day.
Precisely. McDonald's is earning money before the first customer even walks in. And then they just keep collecting. Percentage of sales, rent checks, month after month. It's incredibly stable and, like you said, much lower risk for McDonald's corporates. The franchisee deals with the daily grind.
Staffing headaches, food cost fluctuations, local marketing. That's all on the franchisee's plate.
Which brings us neatly to that key insight. McDonald's isn't just a fast food company. It's, arguably one of the biggest real estate players on the planet.
It seems counterintuitive, right? How does a burger joint become a real estate titan? But their strategy is incredibly deliberate. They are laser focused on acquiring prime real estate.
Yeah, those high traffic corners, spots with great visibility, locations valuable to any business, not just fast food.
Exactly. Think busy intersections, main roads, places you just can't miss. They buy this land, or maybe they lease it long term, build the restaurant, and then they lease it back to the franchisee.
And the rent they charge is often tied to sales volume too, isn't it? A percentage on top of a base.
Often, yes. Which aligns incentives, but still guarantees that base income.
And the scale is just staggering. We're talking tens of billions of dollars in real estate holdings globally.
It's enormous.
So picture this. You're eating your fries. The franchisee is managing the shift. And meanwhile, McDonald's is collecting rent, collecting royalties, and their property asset is likely appreciating in value over time.
It really is that cash flow fortress Warren Buffett talks about, just layers of financial security.
Multiple layers. So maybe we should break down those key revenue streams systematically, beyond just selling burgers in their own 5% of stores.
Good idea. Okay, first, as we've hammered home, franchise rent. Massive, stable, largely passive income.
Number one with a bullet.
Second, franchise royalties. That percentage of every sale across, 95% of their stores, Again, minimal direct overhead for McDonald's per dollar earned there.
Got it. What else?
Third, they do have those company-owned stores, the 5%, but those are often used more strategically, perhaps, for testing new ideas, R&D, maintaining tighter control in key markets.
Okay, so more like labs and flagships than the main profit engine.
Pretty much. Fourth, the sheer value of the real estate holdings themselves. Long-term appreciation is a huge asset.
Billions just sitting there, growing in value.
And fifth, don't forget the supply chain and licensing. Controlling ingredient sourcing gives them scale economies. Plus, branded packaging, Happy Meal toys, it all adds up. It ensures consistency, too.
It's this beautifully integrated system, isn't it? Diversified streams, but all rooted in, like you said, strategic ownership and control.
Yeah.
Not just cooking food.
Exactly. Which leads us to the vision behind it all.
We have to talk about Ray Kroc.
Absolutely. The McDonald brothers, Dick and Mac, they pioneered the fast food concept, the speedy system, genius in its own right.
But it was Kroc, the milkshake machine salesman who saw it and eventually bought them out, who grasped the bigger picture.
He had that famous line, didn't he?
He did. We are not in the hamburger business. We're in the real estate business.
And that insight changed everything. Kroc understood that while efficient food service was vital, the real long-term value, the key to massive scaling, was controlling the physical locations and the whole franchising system.
He built the machine around the restaurant.
Precisely. He created the robust franchise agreements, established that real estate strategy. That's what allowed McDonald's to go global like nobody else. He knew controlling the land meant controlling the business's destiny at that spot.
And that leads us to why this model is just so powerful, so resilient.
Right. Let's break down the strengths.
Okay, first, it's incredibly scalable. One system replicated thousands of times.
Minimal tweaks needed for different markets, but the core is the same.
Second, low operational risk for McDonald's corporate, as we discussed. Franchisees handle the day-to-day.
Much less direct exposure to local P&L volatility for the mothership.
Third, recurring revenue. Those royalties and rent payments are incredibly consistent, predictable cash flow.
The holy grail for many businesses.
Fourth, real estate appreciation. That underlying asset base just keeps growing in value over the long term.
A nice bonus on top of the cash flow.
And fifth, brand loyalty. That golden arches recognition, the expectation of consistent quality. It's a massive global asset.
Absolutely. And think about how well this insulates McDonald's from typical restaurant industry headaches. Inflation driving up food costs. Labor shortages, those hit franchisees hard, sure.
Yeah, tough for them.
But McDonald's, they still get their rent. They still get their royalties based on gross sales, not the franchisee's potentially shrinking profit margin.
That's a crucial difference. Their income is buffered from those operational pressures.
Okay, so a question listeners might have. If McDonald's is set up so well, is it actually a good deal for the franchisee?
It's a fair question. And the answer is, well, yes, it can be very lucrative. Successful franchisees, especially those who own multiple units, can absolutely make significant money. We're talking 6, sometimes 7-figure incomes.
Okay, so it's not a bad deal necessarily. Not at all. But they bear almost all the direct operational risk. The upfront capital investment is huge, and they manage all that complexity we talked about.
Right. Compared to McDonald's corporate, which enjoys that steadier, more streamlined income with less direct effort per location, and they can scale much faster overall.
It's definitely a win-win in the sense that both can profit, but the structure clearly gives McDonald's the, let's say, stronger, more leveraged position.
Makes sense.
And for you listening, especially if you're an entrepreneur or thinking about business strategy, there are some really powerful takeaways here.
Okay, let's hear them. What can we learn?
Well, first, focus on owning the system, not just the product. McDonald's sells a business system.
Right. The burger is almost incidental to the model.
Second, recurring revenue is king. Think royalties, subscriptions, rent. Predictable income is incredibly valuable.
Builds that stable foundation.
Third, controlling key assets, especially something fundamental like land in a physical business, gives you immense leverage and control.
The real estate play.
Fourth, franchising, when done right, can be an incredibly powerful engine for rapid growth and scaling, leveraging other people's capital and effort.
While maintaining standards.
Yeah. And fifth, build a brand that's stronger than the product itself. The McDonald's brand means consistency, convenience, familiarity worldwide.
It's more than just burgers and fries. It's an experience, a known quantity.
Exactly.
So McDonald's really did turn, simple fast food into this multi-billion-dollar empire. But they did it by focusing on the business model, The ownership structure, the franchising, not just flipping burgers.
It's a masterclass in leverage and scale.
So now that you understand how McDonald's really makes its money, maybe it changes how you think about grabbing that next fast food meal. Or perhaps it sparked some bigger ideas
Yeah.
about, franchising in your industry, building recurring revenue, or the power of real estate.
Either way, hopefully you've gained some valuable insight into one of the most successful, enduring business models out there.
Yeah, absolutely. If this deep dive was insightful for you, please do hit that like button, subscribe to FinFlow so you don't miss our next breakdown, and maybe share this with someone you know who loves digging into business strategy.
And turn on those notifications. We've got more deep dives into the world's biggest money machines coming your way.
Definitely. Until then, think bigger, build smarter, and invest like a pro.